So in this video, I'm going to take you through the first couple things that you should do. If this is your first time ever logging into Kajabi, I'm going to show you the first things that you should do along with some little secrets and tricks that I've picked up having spent thousands of hours in Kajabi. In this video, we're going to go through setting up your site details in Kajabi. And this is as soon as you get set up with your Kajabi account, the first step or one of the first steps that you should go through. And to do that, as soon as you log in, this is what you're going to see. This is your dashboard. You'll go to settings, which is in the lower left-hand corner, and then site details. And I'm going to have future videos on these other sections. Site details is really detailed. There's a lot to it. So I want to make sure that we're going through this thoroughly and you're understanding all the different kind of considerations. So this first section is general, and I'm not going to go through every single field. Title, you want to give your account or your site a title. Support email, you're going to need to include something here. Support phone number, you can actually leave this field blank. It's not required. Subdomain, I did want to tell you about. As soon as you get a Kajabi account, they're going to give you a subdomain name, which is going to be your account name followed by .mykajabi.com. So that gives like a home to your site until you set up your custom domain. So, and this is handy if you're like transferring your site from WordPress or something, transferring that custom domain, you want to set up your entire site and your account and everything before you transfer that custom domain. So this subdomain just kind of gives it a temporary home. The subdomain will always work, but you don't want to include, for like branding purposes, you don't want to include My Kajabi. You want to include a custom domain once you come up with one. And then once you do, you can manage domain. Here, there is another section where you can manage your custom domain. You can go through all these settings on your own. And those are pretty self-explanatory. Homepage. So you'll see from this drop-down, your options are the store, library, landing page, and template homepage. So I'm going to show you what those look like. In this tab, so in this left-hand side panel, if you go to website, pages, and then you'll see these three columns, website, landing, and funnels. Right now, we're just looking at website pages. So website pages are also called system pages. These are pages that every Kajabi account comes loaded with. So 404, login, store, all these pages that Kajabi kind of thinks of as comprising a website. And they differentiate those from landing pages. Landing pages are more like your marketing material. So here in your site settings under homepage, you have three system or website page options: store, library, and template homepage. We'll get to landing page in a second. So whichever one you choose, you just want to make sure that it's customized. This is what the store page looks like just out of the box. So if you set up a store page, when somebody goes to your homepage, this is what they're going to see, which obviously doesn't look very good. When you're just getting started, you likely don't have any courses available. So setting up a store, having the store be your homepage doesn't make any sense. We're just going to close this window. Your second option is the library page, which again, you probably don't have anything set up. I have one product in this dummy account here, but it also, this is the way that it's just set up as a template. And here it's got this Latin, lorem ipsum. So again, this probably doesn't make any sense to serve as your homepage when you're first getting started. If you do have a course, like if you've migrated over from Thinkific or something and you do have something available, then you can set this up to be your homepage and your students can just move over here. But just make sure that you're updating the copy here and the graphics and all the branding. Your third option is this homepage. So again, every Kajabi account comes loaded with this template homepage. It's pretty basic. If you did want to use this, you definitely need to update the copy and the graphics just to make it work for you. However, your fourth option that you'll notice here is a landing page. And I've saved this one for the end because this is the best one. We're just going to close out these two. So a landing page, like I mentioned, is going to be some sort of marketing page that you create. And you'll hear me say this 100 times. When you first get started, creating a website is not a priority. A website is not a needle mover. Those pages that we just previewed, the store, the library, and the homepage, there's no way to capture traffic. So if somebody lands on that page, they read it and then they go away, and that's it. So what you want to do is create a landing page that has some sort of lead capture on it. So ideally, this would be a freebie. If you've got a freebie set up, then your landing page would be a freebie opt-in page where they sign up for your freebie, they get on your email list, and then they get that freebie, and then they're in your world. Or if you're planning on launching a course, you can create a waitlist page. And again, they're giving you their name and email address and getting on your email list to be notified when you get closer to launching your course. At minimum, have a newsletter sign up or something so that they can just get onto your email list. So the first step I would do, and we'll talk about this in a separate video, but I would create a landing page that has some sort of lead capture on it, and then set that to be your home page. So you would go to this dropdown, show a landing page, and then once you select that, then any landing pages that you've created are going to show up in this drop-down box. So you would grab it from there. Okay, the next section is branding. And here's where you're going to upload a logo and a favicon. And a favicon, if you don't know, is the little icon that goes to the left of the page name. So this K with the blue box behind it is Kajabi's favicon. So Kajabi recommends a 640 by 640, a square logo for this brand logo. And this is what's going to appear in the header of your pages. So I already created a landing page, and because I had this logo installed in my site settings, my site details, this is the logo, the same logo that appears in my header. However, you'll notice that it's super tiny. So if we want to edit it, maybe we want to make it so that you can actually read it. You can change the logo image width, change that to like 200. Okay, so now you can read it, but it makes this header so tall. And this is the part that's kind of crazy. If you go in here, the suggested dimensions are 360 by 80. So they're telling you here to make this big square logo, and then that's what's going to appear in your header. But then once you get there, they tell you to do a more horizontal, wider logo. So anyway, what I would recommend is just installing a 360 by 80 logo in your site details so that it's the right one. It's going to look better. So I'm going to replace this file now, upload a new file, and I just created, here it is, 360 by 80 pixels. It's kind of got the same elements. It's just more horizontal. Okay, and that's not going to change. It's not going to change on the landing page that I already created, but any future landing pages will have this logo installed rather than that square boxy one. The other thing I wanted to show you about your favicon, they tell you recommended dimensions are 32 by 32. I uploaded a 32 by 32 logo or image here with a white background. And so I'm going to show you where that appears on this page. If we go to preview. So this is the favicon that I installed, and it looks fine now, but then if we click away, you can see it's really small, but you can see that there's a little white box behind it on top of that gray background. So what you want to do is use a transparent PNG file because then it won't have that white box around behind it. It just looks a lot better. So we're going to go back in here. So we've put the right logo in, and then we're going to grab the right file. It's a favicon with a transparent background. Save. And again, it's not going to impact this page because we've already created it. But let's make sure to save here my site details. And now if we create a new landing page, it's going to have the right logo and the right favicon. So under website, pages, I'm going to toggle over to landing and then click new landing page. And we'll just do this blank one. Get started, give it a page title, create. And you'll notice that you can't see the header at all. That's because the header has been set to hidden on desktop. If you scroll down to desktop layout, it's got this checkbox, just uncheck that and then save. And again, this logo is really tiny. It's still tiny, but we're gonna change it to 200. Okay, actually it might be 300 might be better. Okay, so now you can read it a little bit better, but it's not making the header super tall like it was when it was a big square. And then if we preview it, we'll see what that favicon looks like. It looks good here with the white behind it, and it looks good with the gray behind it because it's a transparent PNG file. Okay, so that's your branding. That's just the logo and favicon. There's kind of a lot to it. Next, we're going to go down to colors and your color palette here. And these are the default Kajabi colors. So if we open up a landing page, and let's say I want to change the background color of this section, I'm going to go down to background color, and you'll see that this color palette is the one that's here in the site details. But you want to change it to your own color palette so that it's easier for you to grab those colors. So let's just say that this magenta, purple, this color is one of my brand colors. You can move it around here on the color wheel. You can type in your hex codes. That's probably, if you've already done your branding, that's going to be the easiest. But yeah, let's make it this kind of like magenta-y color and then save. So now this will update at the page level on the landing page that we already created. If I refresh this page, reload site, yes. And then if I go to the same place, go to that background, scroll down to background color, then that purple, like magenta color is an option here now. That is vibrant. Okay, so that was our color palette. And then instructor, this is the default instructor information for any products that you create. And so you just want to include a photo of you, your name, your title. If you have any acronyms, if you're like an MSW or a CPA, we want to spell that out so people know what the acronym stands for. And you can always change this at the product level if you have multiple people teaching your courses or something, but this is just what's going to be loaded by default. Page scripts, this is where you would add your cookies script once you get that, which is, I cover that, I talk about that more in the legal pages section. Next, SEO and social sharing. So just a quick and dirty primer on SEO. SEO stands for search engine optimization. So this is when we want Google to rank your site or your landing pages high when somebody is searching for your content, basically. And SEO can be infinitely complex. Like there can be a lot to it, but just for getting started, the first thing that you should know is that you have 3 opportunities to include keywords in it's called your metadata. And what that does, if you're using the right keywords, then it's going to make it more likely that people who are searching for your content find your site. So you have those 3 opportunities are in your URL, your page title, and your page description. So that's one of the reasons when you're choosing your custom domain and your business name that you want to be really intentional about what words you're choosing and make sure that they're words that make sense, that people are just naturally going to be searching. So I have a video, a separate YouTube video that I'll link to in the description below that goes into more detail on how to do that keyword research and how to craft a page title and description. In Kajabi, you're limited to 60 characters for the page title and 160 for the description. So you want to be really deliberate and not waste any of those characters. So I definitely recommend watching that video. It's only like 8 minutes long and it'll really help you. And again, we're in your site details right now. We're setting up this metadata for your entire Kajabi site. You also have the opportunity to update it for each individual landing page. So depending on what you're talking about on any given landing page, you can, tweak your page title and description to be reflective of that. And finally, your social image this is if you're posting a link to your site on Facebook or LinkedIn or something, there's going to be a little preview image. So you would want to create an image. I always use Canva for all my graphics. Create an image and then upload it here so that when Facebook pulls the URL for your site, then that image comes along with it and will preview in your post. And then this last section, Kajabi branding, you can choose to toggle this on so that in the footer, your page says powered by Kajabi. I don't know why you would do that. If you are on the basic plan, you cannot toggle it off. It has to say powered by Kajabi. However, you can get around that by just making the background color and the font color the same color. Okay, so we got your site details taken care of. Now we can move on to other fun things like your payment integrations and your legal pages. I know that this isn't the most exciting series of videos, but it's super important when you're first getting started to lay this foundation, making sure that you're legally compliant, making sure that everything is branded and customized. It means that what you do in the future is going to be built on a solid foundation. So stick with me for the next few videos. We'll get all your account settings, all that stuff taken care of, and then we can move on to more fun stuff like design and marketing. So thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you next time.